fellow viewers, you are welcome to the Voice of the Youth. As you may be aware, the Voice of the Youth is a program designed to aid discussions that promote youth personal development and national development. The Voice of the Youth today, we are going to discuss a topic that is very much interested, or that is very much concerned about youth engagement as far as agriculture is concerned. We are actually going to look at the situation where the youth are actively engaged or not in agribusiness, and what are the challenges, the prospects, and possible concrete solutions that will aid the youth to get actively involved in agribusiness or otherwise. I'll be joined with guests, some in the studio and some via Zoom, so that we can have an extensive discussion. We are very much confident that youth engagement in agribusiness to a very large extent will go to solve the challenges of unemployment in this country and even beyond Ghana and Africa at large. I would come back after a commercial break for us to go into the discussion. This program is brought to you by Mido Productions. And when we come back from the commercial break, I will introduce my guests to you. But to have an extensive discussion, you who are going to be part of the discussion, wherever you are, whether you are home or in your office or you're in a car, wherever you are, you can be part of the discussion by sending in your comments on this very platform or by calling in through the number that I will announce soon, or you can even send a WhatsApp message and we'll respond to it. Myself and my guests, both in the studio and via Zoom, will respond to your questions and contributions. Don't forget, this program is brought to you by Mido Productions. Anything sound, audio, or video, you can get it provided for you by this company. The numbers you can call in to make your contributions are 030-2233-021 or 030-2234-087. You can also send a WhatsApp message on 050-2651-282. Stay tuned. I'll be back after the commercial break.
Quality sound and video, all of this, yeah. All of this, wherever we dey go, you feel us, so we gon' light up the place, yeah. We the best, no, no more stress, no, no, yeah, no, better services, yeah, 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 yeah. Quality sound and video, all of this, yeah. All of this, wherever we dey go, you find us, so we gon' light up the place, yeah.
Do you need that quality video for your TV, your YouTube and Facebook page? Talk to us. Mido Studios, experts in TV shows, virtual concerts, e-learning videos, reality show auditions, preaching, live band recordings and radio commercials. Call now for your booking on 0302-234087 or 0502-651282. Mido Studios, affordable prices awaits you.
You are welcome back to the Voice of the Youth. As you may be aware, this program comes to you every Monday from 12 noon to 1 p.m. If you have just joined or you are online, please share the link, invite someone, and more importantly, I want to read out your comments and want to know what you think as far as the discussion is concerned. As I mentioned earlier, we are going to discuss youth in agribusiness, the challenges, the prospects, and the possible concrete solutions. Is the engagement of the youth in agribusiness going to be a possible panacea that will see to reduce youth unemployment in our country, Ghana, with the availability of modern way of processing food and even diets vis-a-vis the demands of food in our country, going to enable the young people to actively get involved in agribusiness that will help them also to develop themselves and also contribute towards national development. We are going to go deeper into that, and I have been joined here in the studio by two strong gentlemen, and one of them is a regular guest on my show, and the other is visiting us for the first time. He's a great guy, of course. So let me introduce my guest to you, and then we can kickstart the discussion. But hey, I just want to remind you that you are going to be part of this discussion. So get your phone ready, make your comment, share the link, and invite someone to be part of the discussion. So I have here to my immediate right, Mr. Fanwaseli Gakweto. He's an exercise scientist and also an entrepreneur. And I'm aware that sometimes he's been involved in some agribusiness. It is one of the reasons why I decided to retain him as a guest or a panelist for today's discussion as well. Fano, how are you doing?
Nice, Grace. I'm fine.
Great. Can you speak up so that my audience, my viewers can hear you well?
I'm doing very well, and it's a pleasure to be back here to share my voice with the youth out there.
So how is your business going?
By His grace, we are under COVID is pounding us, but we are still surviving.
Okay, you know, I told you that you have to look up to come and advertise on
Sure,
the show.
sure.
So quickly make up your mind. It's good to have you anyway.
Thank you.
So next to Fanuel is Mr. Rich Kofi Tuo. He is the Monitoring, Evaluation, Accountability and Learning Expert at the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, IITA. Big man, big title, long title. Rich, how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
It's good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
Okay, I will tell you something about Richard. Or I should say it now.
No, not see.
Okay, I see. Okay, after the show, I'll tell you something about the relationship between Richard and I. Yeah. So it's good to have you. And how is your work? Like, how is IITA doing?
Yeah, doing great with the existence of the COVID. Yeah, on our work, you know, we do much research and then we go down to educate our farmers in various parts of Ghana.
Okay.
But in the because of the COVID, we have to slow down because these are health issues, and with health advice, we need to.
I want you to take that again. I want to know exactly what you guys do.
Yes.
But just before you come in, viewers, we are live on YouTube, Mido TV, as you can also catch us on the Mido Facebook page. So try to get on these platforms and let your comments come in. So, Rich, what do you do at IITA? What is it about?
So IITA is an international research firm or organization, you might call it, cut across in various parts of Africa and also South America. We are engaged basically in agricultural research.
Okay.
And in Ghana, we are headquarters in Tamale, where we are into all the cereal crops. And then back in Accra here, we normally have the cocoa team based in Accra down south because we should be nearer to the cocoa growing areas down here within Eastern Ashanti. So IITA's core business is into agricultural research, in Africa and beyond. Yes. So we normally carry out a lot of research cut across the agricultural field, and then we have recommendations. Then we go down to the various parts of Ghana based on the crop that is in question. We go down and then we also educate farmers, and we partner governments. So we work with CSIR. We work with the Cocoa Board based on recommendations of our research to work with them to make sure that farmers that they work with directly benefit from what we are doing. So we co-learn with farmers, we co-learn with the government institutions as well in research pertaining to agriculture in Africa.
Okay, that's great. So thank you very much. You guys, let me borrow the words of Bernard Avre. You are big people, you understand? You are big people. So today we're going to look at agribusiness. And viewers and followers, let me inform that we'll be joined by some other guests via Zoom. And we have one of the Zoom guests who is standing by to join us. And when she joined, I would introduce her accordingly. But for now, let me start the discussion with my wonderful gentleman in the studio here. So studies have shown that about 88% of the world's over 1.2 billion youth live in developing countries like Ghana. And globally, young people account for approximately about 24% of the working poor. And this dynamic is very particular in Ghana, in Africa, and for that matter, Ghana. Now, the AFDB has argued that over 70% of the youth subsist on $2 a day or less. So if $1 is about 5 point something, let's say 6 cedis, it means many youth live on 12 cedis a day, which sometimes I know that really people don't even get a 12 cedis. Yes. And so although this has been predicted or has been data that the AFDB came out with, you can see that projections indicated that 60% of the world's labor force grow between 12 to 16. And then the people within 16 and 24, who are, of course, youth, are involved in agriculture. And I've asked the questions that if this percentage of young people and within this age group have been actively engaged in agriculture and agribusiness. I am confused. Maybe my viewers are also confused, unless you are helping me to get more clarity on this. What is actually the situation? What is agriculture and what is agribusiness? Even before we delve into it, what is there any thin line between agriculture and agribusiness? I will start with you and I'll come back to Dr. Fanwell.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, it's like a husband and wife affair, agriculture and agribusiness, agriculture being the bedrock. So to come to a layman's perspective, or for us to communicate better to everyone that is listening, not only scientists, for you to be engaged in any activity that is involved in cultivation of the soil and involved in production of crops, animals, for the purpose of feeding people, it's agriculture.
Okay.
Basically, that is how we describe agriculture. But then, agribusiness, so agriculture is what everyone does. Anyone that is involved in just putting something in the soil and looking at it, whether deliberately watering it or applying fertilizer for it to grow, that individual is engaged in agriculture.
Okay.
But for you to be termed as someone involved in agribusiness, then you are engaged in this same activity, but you have a commercial mindset to it, or you intend to make profit at the end.
Okay.
Which means that all the business angles that come with it, the issues of production, you look at it, issues of control, you look at it, issues of budgeting, for you to know how much you are putting in and how much you are making out at the end. For you to do all those projections.
All goes make up to
agribusiness. So yes, an agriculturist or a normal farmer will be someone that goes into putting the seed.
Okay.
For it to just come out, for him to maybe basically look at his family, how he can feed his family. But somebody that is into agribusiness looks at the commercial point of view and then tries to make profits.
Okay. Okay. So the moment you start to commercialize your agriculture practices, you are into agribusiness.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. You want to add some?
Well, I think basically he has explained it to the understanding of everyone. So
okay.
That's okay.
So that's just the introduction. So I have been joined by the other two guests who, so when we get them, finally I will get them introduced properly. So just want to let you know that we'll have other guests who will join us very soon. So Rich, thank you very much for explaining this to us so that we know the difference between agriculture, or the relationship between agriculture and agribusiness. Agriculture has really suffered from entrenched negative perception. It is assumed that either you are a school dropout or you are an intellectual dwarf, and so the only thing you can find yourself doing is to enter into agriculture. To what extent is that perception true? And what brought about that perception? I will come to you, but let me start with Dr. Fan. Let me start with Fan.
So I would want to say that perception is false.
Okay.
But it's unfortunate it has been what a lot of people have carried on over the years because of how agriculture has been treated over the years. Let me start with the basic one in school, where if you are caught breaking any rule, it's either you are taken to the school farm to weed, or you are given a portion to weed, and therefore the student sees that as punishment and not as something that is enjoyable to do.
Okay.
Unlike you see a doctor in white with the stethoscope around the neck, they see it to be lucrative and very nice. So why do I go dirty myself, which looks like punishment and it's a form of activity to break my back.
Okay.
And you realize that most of the people who have been involved in agriculture happen to be people living in the rural areas. And over the years have been people with, excuse me to say, but less education. So that perception was built that if you are not good academically, or like, let me borrow your words, you are an intellectual dwarf, then you need to go into agriculture. But that is really an archaic way of thinking and a wrong perception, because when you look at a country like Israel, you get most of their intellectuals going to agriculture, most of their learned people engaging in agriculture. And Israel has a lot of desert and rocky lands. But when we talk about a country that produces more food to feed its people and in even other countries, is Israel. And they see agriculture to be one of the greatest economical activity to engage in. So the perception on which we shun away from agriculture being that it's for the people who are not educated is a wrong perception to start with.
Okay, thank you very much, Fanwa. So, well, it's something that I'll come to you. I know you have some pick on that, but let me just introduce quickly my other guests who have joined via Zoom. So viewers, you have been joined by two other guests, and by a special arrangement by under the leadership of my director, we have two men in the studio and two women who are joining via Zoom. So I've balanced the equation. So I have on Zoom Dr. Mrs. Wilhelmina Kwe, who is a director for CSIR Science and Technology Policy Research Institute. Doctor, you are welcome to join us, please. Good. And I will be taking your introductory comments. I also have online via Zoom Ms. Deborah Jifa Tamaklo. She is an agricultural economist and the founder of AgriHub Project and also a social entrepreneur. So, very revered guests via Zoom, I want to respectfully welcome you to The Voice of the Youth. The Voice of the Youth, as I mentioned, is a program that is aimed to discuss topics that are aimed towards youth development and national development. Today we are looking at youth in agribusiness, the challenges, the prospects, and the possible concrete solutions. So let me start with you, Dr. Mrs. Wilhelmina Kwe. Can you give us your introductory comments on the topic, please?
Thank you for inviting me to join this discussion. I want to say that it's very timely because of the fact that, one, we are in this pandemic situation and we have been called by all authorities to look inward, especially into our agricultural systems, and make sure that we can feed ourselves. That means we are self-sufficient in terms of food production, and then we can also create jobs. And the argument about job creation brings in the
Okay, so let me just quickly take Deborah's introductory comment. So Deborah, just maybe we were saying the perception about people engaged in agriculture, that people think that only the academic dwarfs get themselves in agriculture or agribusiness. To what extent is that true?
Well, if I can continue, you realize that that impression has been created. It is our duty to make sure that that impression, we have a lot of programs and projects that look at it from the business angle.
Okay.
And so with time, I think that this impression will be corrected. It is actually a business, and that is where we have a lot of people. That is where we can actually leverage our resources to make sure that we create jobs that are attractive for the youth.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mrs. Wilhelmina Kwe. So that impression needed to be corrected. One of my guests who admires you a lot also mentioned that it needed to be corrected. Now, we want to look at the topic in detail. We have mentioned that agriculture and agribusiness have some relationship, which your colleagues in the studio have explained to us. I want to know, what is the rate of the youth engagement in agribusiness in Ghana? To what extent are the youth actively engaged in agribusiness in Ghana? So I will take your pick. Deborah, I will take your pick, and then I will come back to Doc, then I'll return to the studio. So Deborah, if you are online, you can respond to this, please.
All right, so thank you very much. The rate at which the youth is actually involved in all activities and everything ongoing, but due to the fact that indeed the rate is actually increasing. Now the youth are actually involved in agric and are touching the business aspect of that agriculture. It's no longer just the agric, but then people are in that business, that profit-oriented mindset in farming and all of that. And when we look at the various incubation projects, pitches all around where young entrepreneurs who are into agric are allowed to kind of share their business plans and get funding. I mean, all of these programs that are also run by the government all boil just to the fact that indeed the rate at which the youth is involved in agric is increasing. Yes, it's actually increasing now, and it's a good thing that is ongoing right now in the country. And I believe in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, the perception, as you mentioned earlier, will be corrected, and agric will be the new gold of Ghana now. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Doctor. I'm back to you. Let's take it that maybe Deborah is a young person, he's a youth, so she's speaking for the youth, that the youth are now more engaged in agribusiness. Doctor, you have been practicing for some years now. What is your pick on that? What's the rate of the youth engagement in agribusiness?
Well, if you want a figure like percentage-wise, I will not be able to give you a concrete figure. But
that's okay.
Indeed, the rate is improving. Why is it improving? Because now we have a lot of innovative thinking around agriculture, and we have enabling government policies. Talk about planting for food and jobs. You have a lot of the youth getting engaged. And as I mentioned earlier, it is not just being on the farm. It's a whole range. You can provide services. You can provide ICT service. You can provide information. You can provide product development services. Look, we are at a point where we need to come up with food items that actually have that strong immune system to build our immune system. It is not just about taking food. So this also calls for innovative food development. What is it that our consumers need? So that information can also be packaged. And now we have youth involved in food delivery services. So there is a whole range of activities involved now, which is becoming more attractive. And again, I want to stress the point that we have the enabling environment. We have programs on youth in agriculture. We have programs in business development in the area of agriculture, especially e-agriculture. And when we say e-agriculture, that is why we open it up for us to use our ICT to move the processes. Food after production has a long way to go. And now we are looking at value addition. So I would say that, yes, it is improving. It's unfortunate that I cannot give you the figures, but it's becoming quite interesting. Okay. Because we have come to realize that there's no other way. If we are agri-based economy, there's no other way to grow but to add value to our production systems. And that is precisely what we are doing. Okay. It's not just about crops. We are talking about crops. We are talking about livestock. And as I also indicated, the pandemic has made us, come to the realization that we cannot always look outward for our food. We cannot always look outward to import rice, to import poultry products. So these are the gaps that we now have been opened up, and our youth are being encouraged with our policies to actually enter into agriculture. And so it's becoming exciting for now. Okay. It is now modernizing agriculture. So it's not just about hoe and cattle. Making it more modernized, our mechanization systems, a lot of services that can be. I can cite a lot of examples. For example,
yeah, Doc, I will pick more of that from you so that, especially when we come to look at the prospects and the opportunities that are available for the youth. So I'll be back to you. Let me pick the take of my guests in the studio as well. So these are your views that the youth have been actively engaged in agribusiness. Yeah, I don't know if you have some few to add to it. Let me take from you, and then I'll take Fanwell. Yes.
So to add on to what Fanwell was addressing about that perception, that is those who are mostly the lowest on the academic merits that go into agriculture. That is one of the perceptions that have gone against us as a country.
Okay.
Even from the aspect of education. When you look at first in the basic schools, agriculture was done as a main course. Came to a time you went to fuse it as just a subset of other programs. Meanwhile, when it comes to our country, about 70% of our land is arable.
Okay.
These are things that we can use for making money for this country. But then we've rather brought it down. When you look at the whole history about contribution to GDP, because of the lip service you are paying to it, it is now dwindling and we are getting to about 21. Just because of how we pay attention to it. But when you understand the agric itself, soil science, last students in class cannot really do soil science and get it. If you talk to all the agric students, crop science.
So the assumption is virtually
the
wrong.
Assumption is just, it should remain at the perception level.
Okay.
And it cannot be a reality.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So let me start from you in the studio. What are the main challenges that youth face or youth would face if they want to engage in agribusiness? So I will start with you, Fanuel, then I'll pick your take, Rich, then I'll go back to Doc, and then Deborah. I'll pick Deborah's voice and I'll pick Doctor's pick as well. So, Fanuel.
Yeah, so I want to mention two main ones.
Okay.
The very topmost is funding. Funding is one of the barriers to youth engaging in agriculture because you get to see lots of youths expressing that desire to now go into agriculture since they've come to understand that the perception that was built around it is not what it is, but it's even pays more than some other professions they look at. But it comes to how to fund the beginning of the projects they want to go into. So funding opportunities are not that sufficient. Not that there are none. There are few ones, but it is not sufficient to fund most of the youth who want to go into agricultural activity. Because if I say that, I want to look at people going to agricultural activity where it is solely mechanization, no more going manually, but using machines and technology, involving technology in agricultural practices. It needs a lot of money. It needs a lot of funding. The second one I would want to touch on is land acquisition. When you want to go into, say, crop production or animal farming. Land acquisition in our part of the world is really something to battle with, in the sense that you go to a traditional area and the number of people you have to pass through before a piece of land is given to you becomes so much that each of them you have to give something to. Then another issue of financial burden comes in. So you go through all these hassles before you can start.
Wow.
But since the perception is taken on, I think moving forward, if all these ones are looked at, where the youth are assisted to acquire land and giving that funding and coaching, teaching practices, you'd see more of the youth even than what we are appreciating now, because a lot of them, including myself, still love that, have the perception and believe that agriculture is the way to go.
Okay, so that was Fanuel's speak. Mr. Richie Kofito, what's your take?
Yes, so Fanuel has spoken about two key challenges.
Yes.
That is acquisition of land. Because even when you look at our cultural system, most of the land is owned by our grandparents, our parents.
Yeah.
Before it gets down to you, it's quite because then it becomes a lot of challenges with other family members.
Okay.
But also key is issues about marketing.
Okay.
So normally people just go in, well, I want to farm. And these things should be thought through. Because when you are going to farm, at the end, you want to make money. Where is the money going to come from? Who are you going to sell to?
Okay.
So it's one of the key challenges as well, marketing. And because you don't have also a robust post-harvest technology system, a youth will just stand up and say, I want to farm, go in for maybe a vast of land if he's lucky to have land by the parents. Goes to plant, and now he doesn't have a set of people to sell to. And he doesn't have people to sell to. He also doesn't have a storage system. Because of that, all those goods go bad.
Okay.
And then he says, well, if I want to go into agri, why should I throw my money into something that at the end I lose out of everything? But then that's why Doc was talking about, we have a whole value chain. You don't necessarily have to be at the primary side, that is being the farmer producing. You don't necessarily have to be there. you can be there as well with the assistance of. That's why we are youth. We are talking about youth. You are friendly with technology. You can bring in.
We'll come to that when we come to the concrete solutions.
So,
but
yeah,
before we get there, yeah, so marketing and then the full storage system.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me pick, Deborah, let me pick your take on that. What are some of the main challenges that you think or have realized that youth face in agribusiness? Hello, Deborah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, your line is by to be worked on. If I can pick Dr. Mrs. Quay's take on that, and I'll come back to you, please.
Okay.
Yeah, he came. I'll see you.
Yeah, Dr. Mrs. Quay, I was asking what are some of the challenges that the youth face in their engagement in agribusiness?
Yeah, thank you. I think the earlier speaker mentioned quite a number.
Yeah.
Finance is a problem. The marketing challenges, network, because these are young people, so they need to have very strong network, not just in domestic market, but also the regional market for those of them who want to go into export commodity. The land issue is also very critical, because you can imagine if you just go to the hinterland and you want a land for a commercial activity, and sometimes it's also tied to the kind of crops or the livestock that you want to go into. Okay. So, for example, if you want to go into tree crops, which government also has a program to encourage tree crop cultivation, then you realize that you are going to tie the land up for so many years, and so you will need a very strong. I think I'm having issues with my network.
Okay.
Yeah. Then you will need to have a strong backend to be able to access, large scale of land for that kind of activity. So the land issue is actually it's something that is becoming a huge challenge, and I think that. Because of our land arrangement system that we have in Ghana, a lot rely on the traditional authorities. So there is a limit to which government can come in. Though we have had land administration project that is actually was supposed to correct some of these issues, we still have these at Parliament.
Okay.
Then, the input supply system, you would probably have to get a lot of technological knowledge to know even what kind of input to use at the right time, because it's not just going into agri. You have to access extension and advisory services, and these are not easy to come by if you are that young person.
Okay, so, thank you very much, Doc. Deborah, can you share your thoughts on that with us, please? The challenges youth face. You are a practicing agriculturist. What are some of the challenges in agribusiness?
All right. So thank you very much. They've mentioned quite a lot of them.
Yeah.
But I'll touch on lack of educational training or the kind of right mindset to venture into the agri. Most of the youth are venturing into it with a business kind of mindset to make profit at the end. Okay. But there's this global agricultural practices where you are trained on the amount of pesticides to apply and all of that. But that training is lacking. You could acquire all the land, get all the inputs, but if you get it wrong with the amount of pesticides you apply to your crops, at the end, the global market rejects it. And so you end up running at a loss. Yeah, so that's one major problem. In as much as we tackle all the other challenges, more training should be given on the global agricultural practices so that we get it right and right from start, from production to marketing, the right agricultural activities to actually put in place to ensure that we hit the profit or the aim at which we actually started with the farming. Yeah.
Okay. So, Deborah, I will come back to you so that we have all outlined the challenges that youth face in engaging in agribusiness. Now, I'm coming back to you to know what are the possible concrete solutions and are there opportunities? What are the prospects? So let's look at the concrete solutions that should be used to mitigate against these challenges. So I will start with you in the studio, and then I'll get back to the guests on Zoom. So this time around, I'll start with you, Fandwa, and then Rich.
Okay. So one major solution that needs to be put in place is budget allocation to empower the youth. Yesterday I was saying on a platform that a policy like one district, one factory, and then planting for food and jobs are very, let me say, salient good policies, but its implementation is the issue to look at. If there's a good amount of money that is allocated to strengthen these sectors, where the youth is more empowered into gaining funds, you're able to gain funds where, let me say, even if it is a loan base that you end up not paying any interest on, because agriculture should be our backbone as a country. Most countries are beginning to find out what to rely on, like Rwanda now wants to go solely on technology. What can we say of Ghana to say maybe it's our backbone to rely on? Yeah, we talk about cocoa, we talk about the goods, but we need one particular one we can rely on, which is agriculture.
Okay.
And there's no doubt. But if you look at over the years, budgetary allocation towards improvement in the agricultural sector is very poor. Now, on the other hand, we look at how to train our youth using technology. The other day I was suggesting on a platform that the university community is a very good place to do that, where at the end of maybe a 4-year study, Agri student is paired with a computer science student. Go out to the field, come up with projects or ideas that IT can be used in the agri sector to develop agriculture in the country. I think these are where we have to start from, because I've been in a competition where it is solely agricultural technology, and you have to come up with an idea where technology is being used in agriculture. And my team came up with how to solve post-harvest loss, where we are using cold storage system to store fruits and vegetables, which is not in our country.
Okay.
Now, at the end of the day, you come up with such ideas and then you are stuck in the middle, no funds. So if funding opportunities is made available, the platform is made for youth to learn and come up with ideas, and these two are merged, and we have our people who have the experience in the sector coaching them. I think we'll go a long way to making our backbone in the country.
Great. So funding, educational policies, and coaching system. Rich, what's your take?
Yeah, so I'll add on to that about issues of access to finance.
Okay.
Well, that is one of the key challenges in agriculture, because there is no insurance, or you cannot even assure the banks that when you go in, tomorrow climate change will come in and affect your crop, and then you are losing out. And the bank, how are you going to pay back? But one thing we can do to help our farmers, and also as youth who are educated going into farming, is to learn the art of bookkeeping and then how to keep records.
Okay.
Because if any individual wants to link you up to a finance organization to support your farming, they will want to look at your records to see if really you keep track of activities that happen on your farm or in your agribusiness, before they can throw in a hand of support. So it's one key thing you also have to learn. Then coming together to partner. Since readily you cannot assure yourself that once you begin, ADB or APSA can support you in funding your agribusiness activity. We should learn also to partner with our colleague that share same minds, so that we can put the little resources that we have together to start what we are doing. Also, yes, some are within our remits. We can take such an action, but then also I think government can also deliberately come on board and also tackle issues of our land tenure issues, as we're complaining about. If government can engage various traditional authorities practically to see how in each area they can make available some portions of land to youth of these areas that are enthuse our issues of agriculture, so that readily they know that, well, if that interest is there and they have the land available, they can also come together as a group with resources of even those traditional areas being used to support them as collaterals for them to engage in farming. As for issues about post-harvest technologies, are huge investments that
very huge, of course,
have to come in to assist and boost the morale of the youth to get into agriculture or agribusiness.
So, viewers, if you just joined us, we have been discussing so far on the voice of the youth in agribusiness, challenges, prospects, and concrete solutions. And I've been joined by 4 guests, 2 in the studio and 2 via Zoom. Can I say that you are the other guests? So I'm waiting to read your comments. I'm waiting for you to call in and then share your views or even ask your questions and do respond to it. We are live on Mido TV on YouTube, and also you can get a link to follow us on the Facebook page. You can share your comment on this platform, or you can call in by these numbers 03022333021 or 0302234034087, or you can send a WhatsApp message on 05026512282. And I want to read your comments and also share your thoughts with us in the studio. So thank you very much. So clearly it is obvious that there are solutions to these challenges. We'll come back and continue the discussion, but until then, let me go for a commercial break. When we return, the discussion continues.
All of this, quality sound and video, all of this, yeah. All of this, wherever we dey go, you find us so we gon' light up the place, yeah. All of this, quality sound and video, all of this, yeah. All of this, wherever we dey go, you find us so we gon' light up the place, yeah. We the best, no more stress, no yawa, no better services, yeah. Quality sound and video, all of this, yeah. All of this, wherever we dey go, you find us so we gon' light up the place, yeah.
Do you need that quality video for your TV, your YouTube and Facebook page? Talk to us. Mido Studios, experts in TV shows, virtual concerts, e-learning videos, reality show auditions, preaching, live band recordings and radio commercials. Call now for your booking on 0302 234087 or 0502 651282. Mido Studios, affordable prices awaits you.
Art Music Solutions, we teach all the instruments, the piano, the guitar and drums, the trumpets available. You can learn sound engineering, so come, for we with specific music needs. Art Music Solutions, we teach all the instruments, the piano, the guitar and drums, the trumpets available. You can learn sound engineering, so come, for we with specific music needs. Contact us on 0303 400 435. Music Solutions.
Do you need that quality video for your TV, your YouTube and Facebook page? Talk to us. Mido Studios, experts in TV shows, virtual concerts, e-learning videos, reality show auditions, preaching, live band recordings and radio commercials. Call now for your booking on 0302 234087 or 0502 651282. Mido Studios, affordable prices awaits you.
Hello, you are welcome back to the Voice of the Youth. As you may be aware, we have been discussing so far youth in agribusiness, the challenges the youth face, the prospects, and we also have looked at some of the possible concrete solutions that can aid to mitigate against these challenges. Yet we have not finished discussing that particular question. So I'm back with my studio guests here, and we'll try our best to get the other guests via Zoom back online as well. But Rich, the Dr. Mrs. Quay mentioned that there are government policies and enabling environments that make it possible for youth to be actively engaged in business. Okay, so I want you to respond to that, but just before then, I've been made aware that Deborah is also back online. So let me just try and do this. Let me pick Deborah's pick on that, and then I will get back to you. Hi, Deborah, you are back? Deborah, can you hear me? Okay, Deborah cannot hear me. Let me just pick my studio guest view. So, Richard, what's your take on that?
Yes, I think she rightly placed. Yeah, whether we like it or not, government is the greatest stakeholder in this and also gets to benefit.
Okay.
Because even when there's a spillover in terms of food after production, this can be exported in order to rake in money for the country. Yes, there are so many policies that have begun and are being continued in several ways. We have the planting for food and jobs, as Doc rightly mentioned, and this is supposed to provide inputs to farmers.
Okay.
And well, when you start production or you are a farmer, one of the key things is about inputs. And when we talk about input, we mean quality input, and the ones that have gone through technology and that has been made in such a way that the weather doesn't have impact, even insects that not destroy them easily. So you don't just go and just take in any seed and then plant. No, some are special varieties that grow also very fast, because one of the challenges in agriculture is about the patience to wait for the crop to grow before you start raking in your money. And now, due to technology, we are able to have seeds that are produced that can grow faster. Even cocoa, for instance, first it will take you like 5 years, 6 years. Now, within 2-3 years, you have the cocoa.
What exactly has the government put in place? So, when I say government, not only the current government, but the government of our nation, what exactly have they put in place to enable this environment?
We have state institutions such as the CSIR that are engaged in production of high quality seeds, and that have been put in projects such as the planting for food and jobs that are given to farmers to help them produce. And you know, this is coming at either subsidized rates or coming for free. Also, we have other initiatives. Kuma started some like building of silos for storage. Now we have building of other storage facilities. I think there is a term for it. Other storage facilities across major food production areas in Ghana that are supposed to help farmers in order to have good facilities for storage.
Is it the same at the bulk food storage, something like that? Or the buffer?
No, the buffer stock, they are engaged in, well, they also store, but they also help in marketing.
Okay.
So they store for you and then they link you to the market point as well.
Okay.
So that is one of the state agencies also that really helps in that aspect. They are helping in storage and then the marketing angle. Then we have other policies like One Village, One Dam that are supposed to also push farmers in terms of times that climate change is having a much impact. When there is drought, they are supposed to get water from those facilities to water their crops.
I'll come back to you about how, to what extent the one district, one dam is actually aiding agriculture. But let me take that of Fanuel's view on that. Yes. What do you think the government is doing, or what are the enabling environments?
So one of them is the irrigation facilities, which I could talk of, the one at Dowenya, where they have the Dowenya rice farm. There's a very big irrigation facility that is available there to enable farmers go into farming activity. they right on that premises, they also have the greenhouse project, the greenhousing project, which they are looking at, like he talked about climate change affect crop growth on
and
open
it is
land.
an issue I will be asking questions
Sure.
about. I'm not holding your thoughts anyway, but I have a caller online. Please, if you could, please, I will pick this because I know you are going somewhere. Hello.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. You are welcome to the Voice of the Youth.
Thank you very much. This is Cephas on the line.
Okay, Mr. Cephas.
Yeah.
Please go ahead and share your thoughts.
I have a lot of issues to touch on regarding the challenges, but your studio guests and the Zoom guests have already touched on many of them.
Okay, if you can make it simpler for me.
When you have a heavy, the studio guests have given out a lot of information, my good friend Fanuel and Kerry. Except to add that, briefly, that the issue of certifying processed goods produced locally here, the bureaucracy that usually characterized or associated with certification at the standard board and all those things can also be...
Mr. Cephas, can you lower the volume to your set, maybe your phone, so that whatever you are watching is on, if you can lower it whilst talking on phone, so that...
Is it better now?
Yeah, I think it's better.
Yes. All that I'm trying to say is that the issue of certifying semi-processed goods or finished goods in the market, that is those that are produced in Ghana here at the standard board, is one issue that we have to look at. The bottleneck that's usually associated with it that frustrates a lot of people that want to venture into processing those goods in order to meet the certification. You go there, and that it tells you and all those things go and come, all those things, and it demotivates the youth from venturing into or adding value to the produce in order to meet the standard that the market will accept, or the food and that, how do you call it, the standard board will accept. But the issue of production of crops, what will a youth do?
Okay.
A youth that go for a loan that may have these high interest loans, this high interest loan, venture into production of crops, an event of this climate change that you cannot rely on the rainfall totally for producing your crop. What will be the motivating factor for you to venture into these areas when you cannot be assured that if an event that the rate did not fall as expected, the product or the crops will not spend, as I witnessed last week. I was just coming from my village. Almost all the corn or the maize planted there, because of the failure of the rain, all of them are burning. And whereby plowing and all those inputs into starting the business itself is not easy. And once you didn't get the money, it's not easy for somebody to gather money to venture into that only at the issue, because of the issue of rain.
Yeah, yes.
And everything that has ventured into Ben like that, got Ben like that, I think it's also a demotivating factor, or it also discourages the youth for going to agriculture or this agribusiness. So I would suggest a solution that, this concept of one village, one dam is a noble one, but it's just that the government is not able to do it in a way that will meet the expectation or to solve that problem.
Okay.
So I will encourage. Hello?
Yeah, if you can just make your solution briefly for me, please.
Yes. So all I'm saying is that the government should look at this direction, whereby it can encourage the youth to be in a form aspiration, plow their distance along a rural bank, or site a location whereby they can create a dam for them to farm, so that they will be assured that whatever at all that they venture into the ground will not burn as a result of failure of the rain. And as a result,
thank you very much, Cephas. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. So we've gotten Deborah and Dr. back online. Deborah, let me pick your take first, and then I will take Doc and get back to the studio. In 60 seconds, what will be your concluding remarks, especially what do you think are the possible prospects for young people who want to engage in agribusiness? Hello, Deborah, can you hear me? Deborah, we still can't hear you. Stay online. Let me pick Doctor's view, and then I will get back to you. Please don't go off. Stay online, Deborah. So, Dr. Mrs. Wilhelmina Kwe, Director, CSIR, Science and Technology Policy Research Institute. Can we pick your view on the prospects in agribusiness and what advice you have for young people who want to engage in agribusiness, please? Okay, I think we've not gotten Dr. also back yet. So, in 60 seconds, what will you advise young people who want to engage in agribusiness?
So, my colleague youth, I would say identify your strengths along the value chain. Look, we have producers, farmers, we have people who are involved in transportation, we have people who are involved in processing, we have people who are involved in marketing. Just identify your strengths, where you think you can play. We all don't have to be at the primary production level. We can also be at either marketing, we can also be at either processing, we can also be either in technology application in agriculture. Identify your strengths and capitalize on that, because there is much money in agriculture in developing countries.
Okay, there is much money in agriculture in developing countries. All of us must start considering going into agriculture. Fanuel.
Yeah, so in wrapping up, I would want to say, as we identify our strengths, like Kofi said, we should look at partnership and networking. It is one of the key ways we can overcome most of the challenges. If I'm to partner with Kofi on an agric project, I know he's been into a lot of research and has in-depth knowledge in the field. And so could advise, if we do ABC, it's going to help. So that form of partnership, where it shouldn't be oneself alone, you want to do it on your own. But there is one challenge also in among we the youth, which we have to look at. It is so funny that youth can come together, sit around the table and spend over 1,000 cedis on drinks and meats. But to come together and put their minds together and start a business is very rare in our part of the world. We always talk about funding opportunities not available, but the money we spend on some of these activities, it is not to say those social activities are not good, but let's look at the future from today.
Okay.
If we are putting those thousands of cedis into, say, a 3-acre farm, which we are going to reap times 3 or times 2 of it in the near future, then we can talk of self-gratification after reaping that.
Okay.
So we can deny ourselves that self-gratification now and invest our money into some profitable ventures than always calling ourselves, let's meet at this joint, take 2 bottles, 3 bottles of club. It's not bad, but that's the only way to go. So that is my advice to my colleague youth.
Deny yourself or self-gratification now. Invest into it. So let me take Dr. Mrs. Kwe's view on that. Dr. Mrs. Kwe, please, your concluding remarks and your advice for youth who want to engage in agribusiness. Hello, Doc, can you hear me? Okay, we're having some technical challenge there, so we couldn't hear Doc very well. So these have been the great ideas that have been shared by my guests. I have been in the studio with Mr. Richie Kofi Too, who is a big man at IITA, and we also have been joined by Fanuel Sally Gakpeto, who has been a regular guest, of course. Someone said that you have made Fanuel the Kokubako of news file of your show. And that's great. Fanuel, it's good to have you. Richie, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate you guys all. And I also want to say thank you to Doc. Yeah, okay, I understand Doc is on. Yes. So Doc, hello Doc, can you hear me?
Hello, can you hear me as well?
Yes, I can hear you. So we are ready to listen to your advice.
Yeah, my concluding remarks will be that in life, we are here to solve problems. We are here to provide innovative solutions. And as young people, we have innovative minds. Please, everybody is talking about so much problems in the agric. That is where the money is. Because we are here to provide innovative solutions to our problems. And I also want to say that myself, I look into our options, and I think agric is the way to go for my for my pension, I'm looking into it and I'm into it seriously. So please, there is money in it. Open your eyes wide, look at it from the value chain perspective, and let's utilize what we have to provide innovative solutions for our problems in agri, and we'll go a very long. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. The youth, let's get actively involved in agri. It will help us a lot. So I wish we had gotten Deborah back. Okay. Deborah, please, can you give us your concluding remarks, please?
All right. Thank you all very much. I think there's risk in everything, and my advice or my concluding remarks will be that the youth out there shouldn't be afraid of the risk that is involved in agri, because there is money in there, as Doc said. There's a lot of money there, and you could see even our bankers, our doctors, all of them peering into agri now. And going forward, there should be more of stakeholder dialogues where, perceptions are still being changed, innovative ways, rebranding, and all of that are shared on such platforms. So, like a platform as this should be encouraged and be admonished so that the youth. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Deborah. It's been good having you online. So that was Deborah Jifa Tamaklo, who is an agricultural economist, and she is a social entrepreneur also. I have some few comments here, and let me also mention that we have been joined by Dr. Mrs. Wilhelmina Kwe, who is a director for CSIR, Stepri for short. And then I have a comment here. Doctor, thank you so much for joining. I have a comment here from Ofori Derek Komla. It said, from my banking perspective, a business without proper bookkeeping find it difficult to access credit to push themselves. So those in agribusiness some may have to do some financial assistances. So Derek also said that, Parkwesi, please ask your guests, what is the interest of students at senior high schools going into agri studies, and what motivation or coaching are they receiving to make agri studies attractive in the 21st century? So thank you very much, Richard. Let me give you 30 seconds each to respond to Richard's, Ofori Derek Komla's question. So you first, Rich, and then Fanwell.
Yes, so financing, Derek spoke of that. He,
yes.
Clearly said that it's in the finance setup. We just finished a study on climate financing in the cocoa sector.
Okay.
It came up strongly that bookkeeping is one of the key things that we need to look at. So it's one thing that we need to train our farmer cooperatives in. Then the second aspect is about education. Yes, so I think that's where the perception needs to be treated and to be discarded, right from the secondary school level. Because when you study it, most of the schools now are on concrete. They don't even have school farms. Gone were the days when secondary schools were being fed based on even the produce from their school farms.
Even teacher training colleges.
Even teacher training college, as you actually said. But now it's full of concrete. Schools are being, just like how Accra is full of concrete now, and floods are killing us.
When you say full of concrete, what do you mean by that?
I mean the normal concrete and that we used to screed our homes.
Okay.
Yes, so the schools are tiling every part of their campuses instead of using almost all those portions for school farms. Be it an animal farm or be the crops.
So in effect, there are less motivation.
Whether you are an agric student, you are a general art student, we should have periods in our schools where each student goes to the farm to practically engage. Even the universities, most of them have to make the subject 70% practical for us to really feel what the agric is and to advise even as you go on.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's take Fanos.
Yeah, continuing from where he stopped, I think the practicality is what is missing. I remember back in senior high school, though I was a pure science student, during our break period, it wasn't a classroom thing. We have to go to the farm. And most of my mates hated the teacher for that purposes. But I think it got to a point where you apportion a land to grow something, and when it started growing and people were enjoying from what they had labored for, other people realized that no, it wasn't that he was punishing us, but was teaching us something. So I think the practicality is needed, and other social organizations can come up. I was trying to start a project with some friends where we go to senior high schools and start to talk to them about agribusiness right after when we finished our contest in Cosmos Innovation Center. But unfortunately, COVID came in and we had to put things on the hold. So more of that can be looked at as entrepreneurship is being talked about to chip in the essence of agribusiness. Okay, thank you very much. For me, what I remember very well is that we had something called BED. And in those days, it was a competition that, I don't know if you remember BED. You have gardens, a school has a then you have a, is it called BED? Yeah. Am I right? Yes, I thought I'd forgotten. And it was more of competition. You want to make sure the plant or whatever on your bed, they nourish well. Yes. You get that from the house and go and water your bed to make sure your things are well. But that competition has cut off the system. So, viewers, we have discussed youth in agribusiness, challenges, prospects, and the possible concrete solutions. We have outlined quite a number of challenges: funding, land acquisition, marketing, less involvement of technology, and then the drive to get involved in agriculture is also a challenge that many young people face, and some of them really do not get the right coaching. Also, is a challenge, and we have outlined some of the possible solutions that there should be congenial or enabling environment, government policies, funding options, possible credit solutions, credit facilities for people who want to engage in agriculture. And we also mentioned that our schools, like somebody at senior high schools and even the universities, should intensify the relevance of agriculture studies and make it more practicable than it has become now, which is more theoretical. But concludingly, we can all say that really there are prospects. I have heard that there is so much money in agriculture. And these young men, I'm going to chase them after this studio, and we're going to have a great moment. So we have discussed this, and I'm sure that we may have to find time to go deeper into this discussion and look at the other dimensions of agriculture. But until then, I want to say thank you once again to my guests, Dr. Mrs. Wilhelmina Kwe, Ms. Deborah Jifar Tamaklo, Richard Kofi Tuo, and final Sally Gakbato for the great work you have done. And I want to say thank you to my crew, the director, Dominic Ansansari, and then the enabling team, Pate, Abel, Edmond, Maswa, Ms. Asante, Abigail, Jeff. Thank you all very much. And I also want to announce that on this same platform, on Wednesday comes another program called Cherewajin. And Cherewajin is hosted by Naichia, and this comes to you from 11 a.m. to 12 noon. And then on the next day, which is a Thursday, you are being hosted by DJ Humble on Throwback Thursday Bash. And this comes to you from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. on Thursday evening. So don't go anywhere. Stay tuned, always on this platform. My name is Parkway Siedu. I've been your host. This is the voice of the youth. Until next week, stay safe. And remember, COVID real is real. COVID-19 is real. Thank you.